I have a lot of videos using this backhoe on this tractor, and every time I put out one of those videos, I get the same comments over and over again, telling me that my process for how I do this is inefficient and that there's a better way. The problem is, I don't think that better way will work on this tractor. So the comment is that after I'm done digging, I shouldn't be getting off the tractor and moving the tractor. I should be moving the tractor with the backhoe. Now, there are a couple of possible scenarios here. One is that I'm an idiot and I don't understand the best way to do that. Another scenario, which I think is the case, is that my tractor is too heavy for the strength of this backhoe. So I want to go detailed through the process of trying to do it that way, show you guys why I don't, and see if I can learn something, or if maybe I can have an answer for the people who make that comment. So let's see what we get. So I just lifted the entire back of the tractor off the ground with the outriggers. It's basically not touching at all, so the outriggers have the strength to do that. Now, if I'm going to try rolling the tractor with the backhoe, first thing I need to do is lift the loader, which I usually like to keep the loader on the ground, but we'll lift it up. Now, I've lifted the loader. I've also put the tractor in neutral, which obviously if you're going to roll it, you have to put it in neutral. But this is kind of a complicated thing because there are multiple different ways that people suggest I should be able to move the tractor. One of them is, I'm digging a hole here, and now I want to dig it wider right next to it. The idea there, the thought process is, I should be able to pick the tractor up by pushing down with the boom. Let's try that before we try rolling it. So we've lifted the outriggers just slightly. Let's try it first with the boom in close to the tractor and flattened out the bucket. Okay, I was able to wiggle it, but it set me down exactly where I was at. Let's try again. So I'm pushing down, won't go anymore. Pushing down. Am I off the ground? Just slightly. That moved me over about 4 or 5 inches. Let's try throttling it up, see if I get a little bit more lift. Let's take a look and see if I'm actually lifting off the ground. I'm trying to go through this in a controlled manner, one thing at a time. Now we've got the throttle up higher, we're trying to lift with the boom out further. Seems like it won't work as well, but I wanted to know. I want to eliminate all variables. So let's try it with the boom in further, because right now I can't get the tractor to come off the ground. on that test, I would say what we got is a little bit of both. The tractor could not lift it the way I've usually tried. With the boom further out, it won't lift it. If I bring it all the way in and go straight down, it won't lift it. It can't get it off the ground. What I had not tried until just now was to curl the bucket back, come in close, go all the way down, and then use that last little bit of the bucket uncurling, and that seems to have a little bit more lifting power, and I was able to get it off the ground. Now, there are a few different variables here, one being more important on the next test, but if you're on uneven ground, it might try to roll on you too. So on level ground, this whole thing is different than if you're on a hill. And one of the main criticisms I got, I dug like a 250-foot trench down a hill, and that was me getting on and off the tractor so many times. But in this scenario, I was able to pick it up and move it sideways. Now, it took me a minute or two, and it would be less convenient, but I don't know if it really saved me any time compared to jumping off the seat, moving up, and moving back with it over a little bit. What I do know is that I was putting maximum force on this. 100% of everything the backhoe had to lift this an inch off the ground and move it. And I've seen a lot of people damage their backhoes, and that's the last thing I want to do. So you can be the judge with this machine if it's worth it to move it that way. Or are you really not saving that much time but putting a ton of strain on the boom of your backhoe? And I can kind of hear it popping. And even when I got it up in the air and I'm turning, that's a lot of weight to be on that little boom. Now this is where I want to talk about the machine not being stock. This machine has a list weight of 2,500 pounds. I think with the loader and the backhoe, it's gonna be like 3,500 pounds. I've got another 1,500 pounds on mine. I've got fluid in the tires, I've got 3 sets of wheel weights, I've got a cab. I myself am 250 pounds. And there's other accessories I've even added that add more weight. So if this was stock with no cab, no wheel weights, no fluid in the tires, I think it would move it a lot easier. But if you add every ounce of weight you can to your tractor, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. And everyone's got to make their own decision on that. I'm leaning towards that's not worth it. But now let's check the second thing, which is more common than moving side to side, but is it worth it to roll your tractor with the boom? Let's find out. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna try this at idle, and we'll try it at full throttle. I want to back this up so that we can get the bucket into the shot, but I'm pawing at it and it's not moving. I don't think it's going to do it at idle. We'll kick it up in the throttle in just a second. I just want to verify the way I'm doing this. I tried it first with the bucket flat, then I stuck the teeth just barely into the ground so I've got something to push against. Okay, now that's shoved into the ground. Outriggers are up, tractor's in neutral, loader's up in the air. I'm dug in hard, it will not push. I can wiggle myself a little bit, but then whenever I come up, it rolls back. This is on pretty much flat ground. When I've tried to do this in the past, I was on a little bit of a hill, and if I could get it to work, when I would roll the tractor, it would roll right back. And the only way to fight around that is more time consuming because you push it, you get it rolled, then you got to put the outriggers down to hold it while you re-grip with the boom. And now I re-grip with the boom, lift this up, and let's see how much more it will push with the throttle up. Let's imagine for a second the transmission was blown in this tractor and I needed to get it from here to over there. I could pull it across the field with the backhoe. I cannot push it. There's something with this backhoe and the strength it has that it can pull a lot harder than it can push. I'm sure some people are going to say that the problem is that the ground's muddy, but I'm not losing traction with the bucket nearly as much as I'm just bottoming out the lever and it won't push. Well, I gave that one more try to try to push itself backward with the backhoe, and it just struggles. You saw me one time, I moved it about 2 feet in one push, but then I couldn't recreate that. If you get the geometry where it's just the right distance away and the bucket's curled in, and then as you push down, you kind of roll the bucket out, it will do it. But you can't just plant the bucket in the ground or curled and plant it in the ground and then push, and it won't do anything like that. So what would I say if I was digging another 250-foot trench? I think the best bet is if you can get someone to sit in the operator's seat and you yell okay, and then they pull forward, then you yell good and they stop. Makes it really fast. But short of that, I'm gonna get off and move the thing every time. Move into the driver's seat and move it. What I'm really interested is if you guys tell me that there's some other way to do this that I'm not thinking of. But I feel like I tried every version of it with the boom in all different locations. I tried pushing with the boom. I tried pushing with the curl and dump function. I don't know what else to do. So tell me in the comments, if you have a tractor backhoe, can you move it with the boom? I'd really like to know what model of tractor you have and how well it does that. Anyway, I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.